Hey, I'm Lewis from Aspiring Gent, and we're going to be showing you guys how to shorten your suit jacket sleeves. You guys have been asking for this video a lot, so I'm finally coming around to making it, and this is going to be part 1 of 2. Now, for shortening sleeves, it is also the same process for lengthening them, so just follow the same steps, but just do it longer than shorter. So let's get right into marking the jacket. When measuring for a client, measure from the tip of the thumb up 4 to 5 inches as an industry standard. If you don't have a friend to do the measuring for you, a quick tip is just to put the tape measure through your thumb to where you would want it to be, around 4.5 for me. Use a Sharpie to mark it on your wrist so that you can do it yourself. Then with the jacket on, you just stand in a mirror and you roll it up to the mark. You might need to throw a pin in because if you're not standing up straight, it's hard to get a good measurement on how low the sleeves are going to be. So we are on the next phase of taking apart the jacket. What we're going to have here is just a seam ripper. You can use a razor blade if you'd like, but it takes a little bit more skill to kind of hone that part of the craft. So what we're going to start working on is just ripping apart this placket, getting in here, ripping off all the buttons. So right there, we've got all the buttons off. Make sure you put them somewhere and do not lose them. Now we're just going to go around and take off all of the lining. Some jackets, if they're better quality, this lining will just start to pull off on its own. But if you have a cheaper garment like I have here, you're going to need to take your time. Also, be very careful when you tug on it. You don't go too hard, because if the jacket's a little older or, again, cheaper, you'll have this lining right here rip, and if the jacket is being lengthened, you may have just ruined the jacket. So now this part, we're going to be taking off the tacks of the lining. Some are done a little bit differently, but all you're really doing is taking it apart from where it's connected to the shell of the garment. After that, you're going to have a corner miter seam, just a normal straight seam, and then a tack under here where it's keeping the middle of it down. Take all of that apart. Now all the seams are opened up. You could just take some time cleaning out all the extra thread, but after that is done, we are going to go ahead and mark it to the length that we just marked. So with everything still in its same press, we're going to just lay it out flat like you would a normal sleeve, just minus all of the pieces being connected. Take your roller and tailor's chalk, measure how much up. This is going to be 1.5 inches. So you're going to measure exactly up, 1.5 inches on this side, and then just mark straight across just like that. From here, we're going to put 2 pins in, and then we're going to move to finish up getting it set for sewing. If your pins are going to be higher up than this like fuzzy fusible stuff on the inside of the sleeve and your pins are more up here, you're going to need to add this so that it gives some meat and structure to the sleeves. Otherwise, you're going to get them kind of coming apart over time and look very like bubbly and blousy. So just add some of this right along where your crease is going to be, and that will set it. You can buy this stuff at Walmart, Joann's, Amazon. Not that hard to find, and it just gets ironed on. So here we go, starting on the pressing of the sleeves. Where am I at? We're going to have our pins in here so that we do not lose these marks because it will go away with steam. You're going to start with the side with the mark. So this was the edge with the miter. And you're just going to fold it like this so it's a straight line rather than a miter, and press that. Oop, it's a little hard to see. Press that flat. Then what you're going to do on the next step is press out all of these creases and marks throughout the whole sleeve. Okay, so when you have all of this flat, we're going to go back to our marks here, and we're going to measure up 2.5 inches. This is going to be the max you want to leave on the edge of the sleeve. This will allow the sleeve not to kind of fall back down and get all bubbly at the bottom, but you also want to leave enough just in case at one point you want to lengthen them, or if you're doing this for a client and you made them too short, you still have some room to lengthen them if you need to. Just like that, then we're going to cut off at this mark. So we have the edge cut off. This is going to be our new sleeve length, so we're going to take the fabric, fold it onto that line, like so. Match the back so that it lines up with just like this, because this is going to get flipped in and sewn in, creating a new placket. To see, as you can tell, this is obviously way too long because you want them to match exactly at that point. So we're just going to roll this up a little bit more and keep pressing it down. That's how you want them to line up, perfectly flat right at the bottom, and this placket laying straight. So now what you have is you have everything on the shell of the garment ready to sew. Next, we're going to focus our attention on the lining. I'm going to pull this out and press all of this flat. Just makes it a little bit easier to work with. And for people who are lengthening sleeves, you're not going to want to cut the lining at all because you need it to match up and blouse a little bit in the garment. I'll explain that to you later. But for people who are shortening it, this is how you figure out how much you want this shortened. So if you left 2.5 inches of material on the inside, with the jacket laying straight and none of the inside lining bunched up, it's all laid out flat, you're going to measure up, whoop, there goes the jacket, measure up 1 inch,
And you're going to leave just an excess of an inch going past the finished fold of your garment. So there we go. Have this cut, have the shell cut. Now you're ready to sew it together. One last step, if you have it, not 100% necessary, is if you have sticky tack, like fusible, iron-on fusing, you can put it right here in the seam and bend it and then press here so that it glues it together. If you don't have that, not a problem. We'll show you how to hand tack that later. But for now, this is all you're going to need in part 1 of getting a set of sleeves done.